it's really interesting to see how DeFi has evolved and continues to evolve. We started with some pretty basic functionality that involved different types of positions, and the different types of activity has to be kind of looked at and examined. So, if we look at some of the very first protocols, Maker is always something that's worth taking a look at and using as an example. And the Maker position is exactly as you set out. You have to be able to trust the technology. You have to be able to look at the smart contracts, and in a fully functioning normal position where you're loaning yourself assets and nothing goes wrong, and then you're going to repay those assets, then it is solely at your discretion and your risk that DeFi actually that transaction actually occurs. And so you can manage that risk by looking at smart contracts, looking at the people that built the platform, if they're transparent, if they're visible, and that can obviously give you some level of comfort. And you can act in a completely self-sovereign manner, acting against the code and loaning yourself assets through the Maker platform very easily. You could think of that as an automated pawnbroker, where you take your watch into the pawnbroker and you get a loan out of that, and everything works. Where things become a little bit more tricky is where you step into a different position and you end up in a default position. And in the default position, maybe, and there certainly is within Maker's case, there are different parties that participate in terms of that liquidation position. Now, those different parties might be might be people that you care about, might be people that you don't care about, and the assets that they are liquidating, they haven't had any compliance on them because they haven't had any KYC done on them. And I think that's a mindset that we need to shift out of and say that the on-chain screening is enough of a screen to say that the assets themselves, which can be tested, are suitable for liquidation purposes. And the challenge there is that the regulations change. So if you step back 5 years ago, you could do business with Russian entities. Fast forwards today, given everything that's going on, Russian entities are much harder to do business with today. And so the regulations and what's acceptable practice changes, but the code, ironically, can be much slower to change. And so we need to kind of figure out what people are going to be comfortable with, how we're going to get to a position where we can move forwards and have various different levels of adoption, because the benefits that are made available with these decentralized finance tools are incredibly important to make sure that we get right for the industry.